All right, guys, welcome back to this week's show. Today, got another amazing show for you because that's kind of what we do here is bring you amazing shit. And as always, my boy, my right hand man, the man with the plan who makes all this possible, Joel Henry, Sobriety University, all about that recovery. The real deal. Got an amazing community program to offer. So we'll get more into that. And if you have any questions about his content, you can go to Sobriety University or his Instagram at Joel Henry and learn more about that. So,
Yes, sir.
how are you doing? Long time no see.
Long time no see, man. It's been a few weeks. It's been
Yeah,
a few weeks. Glad to be
it's all
back.
good. Yeah, good to have you as always. Talked about talked about you last week when you were here.
Oh, it's much appreciated, man. Much
Yeah,
appreciated.
of course.
You've been tearing it up. Been tearing it up, doing
Oh
shows
yeah,
with different people, doing the solo stuff.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
to see it.
I have a great show for you in store today. And next week, I have another amazing guest coming on who is going to tell his story, some of it, and what he offers and what he's done, not only in my life, but hundreds of men's lives and his own.
Hmm.
We'll get to that come next week. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear from Joel Henry, his own personal success story, using, I don't want to say using, being put in a situation where he had a choice to make and he chose no contact. And he's going to talk about how that worked out for him. So go ahead, Joel. You want to tell us a little about leading up to why you and me even started talking about this?
Yeah, definitely. So, for myself, relationships have always been tough for me. With someone with addiction, I wasn't always present to be able to have relationships, nor did I have the skills. So, I recently moved down to Mexico City recently in the last 6 months, a little over 6 months ago. And a big reason I came down was for dating. I just wanted to be in a place where there was an abundance of women, and I was living with my friend Jaron, who you've seen on the channel before. He's an expert dater, and he's taught me a lot. So Joe and I started working together, and we met through Jaron. So big shout out to Jaron. And I had gotten my first girlfriend, my not in my life, but first girlfriend in a minute, and probably since I was like in high school. And we started dating. I got the one itis for sure. Really started to like her. Was seeing other girls as well, which was kind of new to me, but I let them all go. You know, when I started exclusively dating this one, which we started dating not on a good foot. She found out I was seeing other girls and she like freaked out. And I was like, hey, do you want something exclusive? Which, as you guys are learning, it's the woman that should be bringing that up. And I said, yeah, I would love to, do have something long term to try to rescue the relationship. So the end was coming, but I tried to hold on a little bit. And she said, sure. So what I actually did was I let go of all the girls I was seeing, which was a big mistake. And my roommate, he's like, dude, don't do that. I keep seeing him. Just have him on the side, right? I said, no, no, no. She's the one, man. Like, I'm ready to put all this day game and approach into the side because I've accomplished my mission. And so quickly, as Joe talks about in his content, it went from being in love to she just started, slowly pulling away. Just little things here and there where you're just like, that's like if two friends were to do that, you'd kind of be like, oh, that's not really what a friend does. So little things like she invited me on a trip, and I was like, the day before, I was like, hey, like, what are you doing this weekend? Because she told me the wrong date. She's like, oh, I'm going to this trip this weekend. I told you, and I was like, okay, like, I thought I was going to be joining you. And she goes, oh, well, yeah, but it's kind of short notice. I'm just like, well, that's not really what boyfriend and girlfriend do. So I was like, hey, if you don't want me to come, that's all right. No worries. I know, no, you can come. So we went and we had this great weekend. And little did I know that was the last time I was going to see her. So get back, did the classic, like, I'm going to reach out to her way too much as I was doing. And she really started to pull away. And finally, it got to the point where I realized, oh, she's not interested anymore. I got that gut feeling in my chest and in my stomach that, yeah, she's not really a big fan of Joel anymore. So what I did was I decided to end it. Kind of to save face because I knew it was going to happen eventually. She was going to end up doing it. I'm just like, I'm going to just leave with a little bit of pride. I'm out. So I broke up with her. Technically, in the grand scheme of things, I'll say she broke up with me, but I was the one to kind of say it. And then, I was doing Joe's videos. It's like, well, this is kind of pertinent because all he talks about is no contact. Like, what is this thing? Because I was feeling a lot of pain. If any of you guys have gone through a breakup, you know how much it hurts. And I realized, okay, I got to do something here because this is incredibly painful. And I knew immediately that there was stuff I did to cause that. From recovery and learning how to take responsibility, I was like, okay, this isn't her. Like, I obviously was the one that she lost attraction to. So that means I was doing stuff that caused that. So what is that? And so I started asking Joe questions. We started having little talks here and there. We were doing the podcast and stuff. And really, I started to understand what no contact was and understand that there was something positive to it. I didn't know what that was going to be, but I trusted that, you've gone through it. So if I follow the guidance of what you're saying and what other people on the internet on no contact are saying, there's a chance that I might not get her back. And I kind of recognize that from the beginning. I think that's really important, guys. Like, you do no contact for yourself. But I knew that if I were going to do this, that I would probably feel a lot better in the end. And there was stuff I needed to learn to have better relationships going forward. So that long-winded answer to your question there, that's how it began with the no contact.
No, that's what I was looking for, some detail, and you offered a lot. And you said something I want to straighten out, that what I and others teach on YouTube about no contact. I don't like, I hate even putting labels on things because I think it's a little cheesy and clickbaity. You understand? Mm-hmm. Like alpha male and simp and high value man, all this shit. I don't know another way to describe what no contact is without that gives it context. That gives us a launching point to talk about and break down what it is. And one of the things I impress on you most is that this is the time for you to step back, to respect that breakup. Step back, take a little time, whatever it takes for each individual person, that's relative, to detach enough to where you can go inward. And there's no better time to look at yourself at your deepest, darkest crevices of your flaws and your character defects than when you're heartbroken. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. Breakups impact the most change in men's lives. Heartbreak.
Absolutely.
And that puts you in a position of desperation, essentially. Like, you're desperate for answers, you're desperate for solutions, you're desperate to feel better, to do better, to all of these. This is when you're the most motivated you're ever going to be to impart change into your life. Quality, long-lasting change. Because not only does going no contact, let me see, DT, absolutely right. No contact is about bettering yourself, not your ex. And that's true. And this is where I'm different from the no contact people out there. It's like they say, use no contact to get your ex back. That's not why we're doing it. That's not the motivation behind it. Obviously, if you've been broken up and you want your ex back, but that's philandering, that's a grift, that's a con, to tug on people at their lowest point. Is that your door or mine?
I think yours.
Jesus.
Hold on. Talk about no contact, right? Hey.
Yeah.
No contact.
Get out of here. Hold on. This is a pain in the ass. Hold on.
Yeah. Feel good. Yeah, guys. So, I'll just follow up with what Joe's saying, right? You do it for yourself. You do it to better your life. And I think where he was going is that they do say that on the internet a lot with some of the other main channels that are no contact, like how to get your ex back, 3 ways to get your ex back, why no contact helps you get your ex back. And you realize that, again, you can do it. Your ex might come back, and we're going to dive into that later. But at the end of the day, you're doing it to become a better version of yourself and to be more happy within. And that I found has been the biggest blessing of this whole thing. Like, oh my God, I'm sure you can look back, Joe, as well. I would guess, be grateful for all your breakups because they made you a better person.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for all my life experience. And I think people who say, I don't have any regrets because it made me the person I am today, I do have regrets. I do regret that I didn't address these things when I was younger, but I genuinely didn't know that there was such underlying things that caused the things, and not just in breakups. I mean, that's just one part. But I think a relationship really encompasses and reflects what the rest of your life looks like. If you can understand what I'm saying, like you can go, when you become involved in a relationship, everything comes to surface, good, bad, and in between. You can't hide from it. It's going to be there. And it's only a matter of time before that stuff comes out in the open. And that's when you form this connection and this emotional bond with someone. That's when this, I don't know what else to call it, faults, flaws, defects come to surface. Because essentially you being like, I could go out there and I'm not saying I was some desperate weirdo. I was married for almost 20 years. Like I could be semi-functional relationship, but she had equal amount of issues as well, because we kind of fed off each other like that. But anyway, I could go function if it was surface and we didn't have to get too deep. I think it was great. I could manage it every other way. I lost you. Where you go?
Oh, I'm still here. I'm just gonna grab a light, so turn
Oh.
off the. Yeah, keep rolling. Keep rolling though.
But yeah, I mean, I could function in other areas of life. It's when you have to really put everything out there and expose everything and bring every part of yourself out. And that includes the parts that you carry this toxic shame with you from unresolved trauma and issues. That comes out too. And that's the unattractive stuff. That's the stuff that comes out as unattractive. And it leads to the way you show up in a relationship. It brings out all your best character attributes and your insecurities and your flaws and your defects. So everything comes to surface at some point. And I don't discourage pickup and all that, but I don't know if you watched much of last week's video, but that was about that. That has a place in the dating world. That definitely has a place for socially adapting, to being able to adapt socially and not be awkward and afraid to go approach and go talk and meet people, chicks and dudes, because all relationships require that presence and that ability to have some kind of functionality in it. And the pickup's fine, but you can only hide that slick guy shit for a little while. And women have insane intuition and radars. They start sensing that shit, like this guy ain't this ain't what he's about. He ain't this. And it starts to come to surface. And what usually happens is they begin to pull back a little bit subconsciously to test to see, is this guy really who he says he is? Is he really made like this? Or is he putting his best costume on to woo me and show me? Yeah. And the time reveals all, because you can only hide that for a little while. And it's good. Look, I think it's an absolute plus to be adapt enough to go meet chicks out of thin air. That's not easy. But once you learn to do it, it's a system and you become comfortable with it, just like anything else. It's a skill. Yeah. It's, can you maintain that same masculine frame and keep that attraction up and do all these things that you're portraying for a long time in a relationship? And if you have some unresolved shit, you're not going to be able to sustain. It's going to come to surface. And it's usually when the relationship is challenged, i.e. pulling away, is when that stuff really comes flaring up. Like you aggressively go after her and it comes across and it is very needy and clingy. And there's one thing women don't like is clingy. Like when men either. I don't like somebody who's clingy and insufferably insecure. Everybody has insecurities. You're never going to be able to get rid of that. What happens is you start working on yourself, you address these things, you identify insecurities and realize it's probably not that bad. And I'm not going to make a big deal of this, but there's some things I can do to work on my insecurities. If you're insecure about the way your body looks, you go to the fucking gym. If you're insecure about a limited vocabulary, you learn how to speak. Like there's things, but deep-seated insecurities like, I don't deserve to be loved. I'm going to be abandoned by this person. That's not easy fix. That's something deep down, that's rooted deep down in your subconscious that needs to be looked at, erased, and replaced, which you don't erase trauma. Trauma never goes away. You just redirect it. You learn through it's and I'm gonna tell you, it gets like you've been through it. It gets a little darker before it gets light because not only do you have
Oh,
to
yes,
come,
it is.
you got to come to the realization that I'm a little fucked up, and I hate
Mm.
even saying it like that because you're not fucked up, but that's the perception. That's how I thought. Let me just say that that was my interpretation is, fucked up. Now, so you're aware of that. Then you got to go backtrack and figure out why. Then you start seeing, holy shit, there's a lot of dysfunction here. And it gets a little daunting and depressing. It
Yes, it
takes a
does.
certain motherfucker to go in and do that hard work, that dark work.
That
But
shadow work. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Shadow work.
But the end result, the reward is, I can't put into words the reward of mining that trauma like you mine for gold and copper, digging down and chipping away all the way down to the core where it is, pulling it up and making friends with it and coming to the realization that, wait a minute, this did happen, but I am deserving of love. If this person does leave, yeah, it's going to suck, but I'll be okay. It's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine no matter what.
Mhm.
And through that slow process of doing the work that so many people are not willing to do is where you get that quality self-esteem, real confidence, real self-assuredness. All these authentic, genuine, like that guy you would portray on a Saturday night walking in all fresh after going over your routine of what you're going to say and how you're going to pick up. You're that guy 24/7 now.
Amen, brother. Amen. Don't got a front.
No.
Become that. That's exactly what happened then. What all that you were talking about.
Mhm.
All those insecurities came up. That abandonment wound, the being like, if she leaves me, I'm done. Like that started to surface. And it
Yeah.
surfaced in very minor ways, just like behavior tweaks or the way I would look at her a certain way, a little too long, maybe. How I would take a little too, I would text her back too quick, that
Right.
kind of thing. And it was like, it was just a slow death. And like you said, as soon as it happened, I instantly went inward. Like I started talking to you about it, I think day one. And I'm just like, what do I do to heal this?
I
And
remember.
it was very painful too. Like you said, I knew it was going to be a tough few months. I didn't know how long it would be. It really took about, I would say 3 months, 3 months until I started feeling happiness again. And it was scary because I'm like, fudge, dude, like, is this it? Like, I'm just never going to be happy again. Why that is because of the oxytocin development that happens around that person. All those
Mhm.
chemicals started going. So I was really going through, and you, as if anyone's watching who's going through a breakup, you go through a withdrawal, like very similar to like cocaine and heroin, getting off that.
Joel, it is an exact same chemical model.
Okay.
Identical.
Wow. Holy shit. That's why it hurts so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Man.
The drug is the chick. The drug is the drug you're seeking is validation, acceptance, love, care,
Yeah.
and the source is she. And once you start hitting on it, and then you get all these bonding hormones, the oxytocin, and all these endorphin dumps you get by bonding over time, and you develop this habit and this ritual of seeing her, and everything's associated with this feels good, this feels good, this feels good. You start to get attached. Um, you get the
Attachment.
vasopressin, another,
Depressive.
yeah,
That's intense.
vasopressin.
Wow.
So that's the source of it. And when that source is taken, that is a withdrawal. Your body's not making it anymore. You've already imprinted on yourself subconsciously that she's the drug, that's my hit.
Mm.
And when it's taken away, it goes, not only does it go, it crashes away. It stops
Yeah.
immediately. Just like when you're withdrawing from opioids or alcohol.
Yeah.
It's the
Yes.
same exact chemical model. And mirror her time of texting calls. Absolutely true. But look, I'm not in the beginning, I pay very, very close attention to things.
Yes.
Once you become relaxed and centered, like I don't count the text response. If I'm genuinely busy, I don't answer. At, at that point, if you're doing that, that's playing silly games. But there is a responsibility of you to maintain your position.
Yes.
And there should be times when you're genuinely busy during the day. You should be chasing your mission.
Yeah.
You should be all in on that. And it's also something you need to make clear in the beginning of the relationship when you have that talk, the boundaries, the expectations talk. It's that, hey, look, here's how my life goes. God, purpose, me, you.
Yes.
And that's how it has to be. To maintain a happy, healthy, mature, loving, fun relationship, that's how it's got to be. And if she's even somewhat mentally, because now what you're doing is appealing to her biology, and she likes that. Let me tell you something. No girl wants to be the center of your universe. No girl wants to be the center of your life.
No, they do not.
Not only is that terribly unhealthy and toxic, and you will be disappointed, no woman wants to bear that burden and that responsibility of being responsible for the only thing that you pursue is her. That tells her she can't trust you, you're weak, you can't make decisions, you have poor decision making. Like, she wants you to be focused on shit that you can put together for her to benefit as well.
Yeah. And also, if you're doing that, she knows you're not seeing other women, and her hypergamy is unsatisfied, knowing that she's the one. Yeah. Just had to throw that in there.
And the thing with that is, women don't necessarily, they want to know that you're capable of getting other women. They want to be somebody who can cheat, but not necessarily does.
Yeah.
And that's just the way women are wired. I mean, think about it. Do you want, like, even from a male perspective, like, don't you want to be with somebody attractive? Don't you want to be with somebody who's, gets looks from other men and shit? And you want that, but you obviously don't want her entertaining that shit. And look, I understand it's different for men and women if you step out. But I can tell you as a man who's had a stable and done the dating, I've done the Playboy lifestyle for a long time. There's nothing more rewarding and satisfying for me than to have somebody at home that I want all the time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's fulfilling for me. It may not work for everybody. I know guys in the space are in their 40s and still like the Playboy lifestyle. It's fun. And I think every guy should have a period in their life when they experience that, because you learn a lot. And you take that same psychology and the same things you did doing that, and you apply it to your relationship, and your relationship stays fucking awesome.
Exactly. I'm a bit in that stage right now. So I'm here, like, I wanted that. I wanted that long-term thing too early. So I didn't have my Playboy phase, and I'm going through that now, and it's really fun. You're right. I talk to my mentor every week, and he's like, eventually, man, you'll probably get burned out. So just enjoy it, learn what you can, but enjoy it. That's a big thing.
Let me tell you something. Every man I've ever worked with, and I know men who've worked with more men than I have, other men in this space, leaders and content creators and guides in this space. Every guy that comes wants just that. They want to be a family man. They want a wife, a family, and that's the end goal for every man I've ever worked with. And I asked that question in the beginning. What do you want to get out of this? At first, it's I want to get my ex back. I'll do whatever I have to do. I've also worked with men who weren't going through breakups, that just wanted to know, how do I get better with women? How do I date? How do I get to have sex? Like, that's simple. And that's a totally natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of. That's what you put on this earth to do. Like, that's biologically programmed into you as a man to spread your seed, have sex. And over a long term, sex, women connect emotionally through conversations, through security, through presence. We do in a sense too, but we connect through sex, physically and sexually. That's how we bond. And obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. My thing is,
we bond through other ways too, guys. So don't take that as like, oh my God, we're just these sexual deviants. No, but our main, if we're not having sex, there's not really a relationship. It's just that friend zone thing.
No,
We're not
she
playing
has
that game. We're not in friend zones. No.
she has girlfriends and boyfriends. If you ain't fucking your girlfriend, it's that simple. You're just a friend. You're just a convenience for her.
An emotional
So,
tampon, as they call it.
yeah, so many things.
Yeah.
On-call handyman, emotional tampon, whatever. But
All of that, dude. Oh. And I was
no,
like, I did not want to be part of that.
and my whole thing is, so let's rewind and go back to what the show is about: is no contact and your success with it. So where you learn to develop these attributes and this real core internal belief of confidence and self-esteem and respect, self-respect and worthiness, it takes work, it takes time. Then being able, and like all, we can do all the work in the world, and we can watch videos and read books and talk to people and get coaches to help us with things. And there's nothing wrong with doing any of that. Look, I've already said I have mentors still, and I always will. There's always going to be somebody above me that has something to teach me. Matter of fact, I saw one of my mentors for a totally unrelated field, contractor, construction. Talked to him today. We keep in touch regularly, and I learn something from him every time we talk, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But until you go out there and apply this stuff, it's just theory.
Yeah.
It's all theory. It's masturbation until you're out there putting it into action. And so through working with me and through these programs we set, through the no contact process, you're working. You're working and working and working. You're taking action, because that's what brings you results. You can sit home and think about it all you want. You can be as well versed in human psychology and sexual dynamics and intersexual dynamics. You can be a nerd about it, but if you're not going out there and doing it, it's not worth a shit. It's not worth a plug nickel.
Nope. Man, dude, the hours of work I put in after that was insane. It was a lot of work in a good way. I got right into recovery, so I had a lot of love addiction, as they call it. One-itis, that was my big thing, abandonment wounds. So I started going to recovery programs. I got a sponsor, and I started working the steps. Like we literally did one a week. We're getting towards the end here. We're on 11, and just rolling through them, right? Asking questions, getting into other programs, starting to work on my finances a lot more. I knew that I had to heal that with the thing within, right? Because right after the breakup, I started going out and seeing a couple girls again, but I was just using it for a band-aid. So finally, universe, they say God does for you what you can't do for yourself. So I stopped having success with women completely. I would try to do approaches. They would just be awkward. I'd be like, still sad inside, so they could like feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whatever, like, I guess I'm just going to do more recovery work. And the success came in once I started to get dates again. That's really when I was like, okay, so this work was worth it. Started to do more approaches, and I was getting numbers like pretty regularly, and I started to have breakthroughs in that area. The big win was actually about a little over a month ago. I ran into her actually at a pool party. So it had been
Let's hear about
four,
that.
yeah, man. It'd been about 4 months since the breakup, and I was pretty much over her at that point. Like I hadn't thought about her anymore. I was like, was pretty much free, right? There was still something a little bit lingering, and it was funny that about the night before I saw her, like no lie, the night before I saw her, I had a dream, and I woke up and I was with a girl I'd been seeing. She's very cool, doesn't drink, doesn't use, and just super healthy. And I was like, this is exactly what I'm asking for. Yet I felt like that pain because I was still kind of clinging on to her mentally just a little bit. That night, I see her at the party, and I was like, it was a really nice rooftop party. I was with my roommate. I'm like looking around, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, she looked familiar. Wait a sec. It's like, holy shit, that's her. I just start getting that, anxious feeling. And I text my sponsors. I'm just like, as a joke, I'm just like, guess who I ran into? And they're like, no way. And my one sponsor, she just goes, remember, God loves you. I was like, okay, that was nice. I decided I'm gonna go say hi. I'm not gonna be like weird about it, like pretend to like not see her. No. So I went up and I said hi. So how you doing? How have you been? It was just very uncomfortable. She was with a friend, and I was trying to be kind or whatever, and just get through the conversation. And part of me did want to be like, oh man, like we're gonna hang out tonight. Like I'm gonna get back with her. I'm like, and I look at her and I go, I don't think I want you back. I was like, why was I so into you? And that was the first success when I realized she was off the pedestal. I was like, okay, that's win number one. So, it's getting awkward. She can't speak English. I can't speak Spanish very well. So we were obviously Google translating. I'm just like, hey, look, it was nice to see you. Maybe I'll talk to you later. But I got to go. Take care. So I take off. And so the big win came. So that was win number 2, being able to walk away from her. Win number 3 was I had a girl I met a few weeks ago, and she came a couple hours actually from out of town to see me. So she was meeting me at the party. And before she came, I had approached another girl. We were talking about the pool. So it happened that her table was right next to the pool. And so she's seen me like talk to this girl, we're flirting, I get her number or whatever. And then the girl that's actually there to see me, she comes. So we're hanging out, we're dancing and stuff. And, I would look over, and it was weird because like her roommate was just like, you've had it before when you're with a good looking girl, like other girls would like look over and kind of give that little stink eye. So her friend's like looking over, and, she's trying not to avoid eye contact and stuff. It was kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it was egoically satisfying. So I got to live that high a little bit. And then the big realization was like, hey, look, it was great. I appreciated the time I had with her, but I'm past her. I'm attracting way better women for me, way more attractive women than what I thought she was. And they're staying around. They're not leaving anymore. I'm not blowing it after. I'm not getting needy. It was a miracle. Like I still can't believe it. Like I have multiple women now that I see regularly. They're happy to see me. I'm leading the relationships. I'm leading the frame. I'm leading the text interactions, all that stuff. All the things I was messing up on with that girl, I looked so hard at it. And I said, I'm never doing this again. I'm not fudging more relationships up just by being needy and horny. So I figured that out. And today it's a complete opposite. So
good. And you get that has to be attended to constantly. And that's what we call as being a man is the burden of performance. It's your job to maintain that. It's your job to keep that position. And that's okay. I'm not saying like you got it hard. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you as a matter of fact that's your position and you're doing it right. And I'm proud of you. Yeah. Good job.
Thanks, man.
And so yeah, and look, I tell guys often, well, everybody I talk to, I tell them in the beginning, like, look, when we're done, you're not going to want her back.
Exactly, dude.
Trust me. And I think people say that they think I'm saying that tongue in cheek just to tell them something good. But
I did. Yep. I was like,
exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Just get me better. Save the bullshit.
Yeah.
Help me.
Right.
And I tell people that I'm like, dude, when you see her again, it's not going to be the same. You're going to sit back and think, why did I make such a big deal of that? Like, what the fuck?
How was I so sad over this person who's a little chubby or like, isn't this fine goddess I thought? And to your point on, the burden of performance, wouldn't have it any other way. It's when I date a chick now that's a little more masculine, pun intended, and tries to lead a little bit, I'm like, I just instantly go, I don't like
it's not attractive. Once you experience with a sweet, submissive woman who genuinely desires you, you got no time. I've got no tolerance for that shit. You start being all macho with me, you're gone. You're done. I'm not gonna. I just lose interest immediately. That's such a turnoff for me. Yeah. And once you experience a submissive, sweet woman who really takes care of you as you should be and as you should, and you taking care of her the same way, there's no replacing that. You'll never tolerate another shit relationship again. And that's part of the benefit of doing the work. Because if you never do that work, you're going to carry that frame with you for the rest of your life. It's going to manifest itself in every relationship, no matter. And as you get older, it gets worse and harder to interrupt and correct.
Okay.
And yeah, I tell people, like, after you're done and you've done this work, And the work, you're going to be doing the work the rest of your life. That's just part of it. You're never completely 100%, but that's the beauty in it too. There's always something to improve, and there's always something to work on and stay sharp. That's the beauty in it. But you're not going to want her anymore. And it's essentially it's depedestalizing her, because that's wounded people who seek validation and place a lot of worth into what their romantic partner views them as. That's what we do. We pedestalize because like I said before, you place these people are the source of your happiness, your self-worth, the physical, mental, emotional, all of these experiences that you're taking in. And it's not a conscious thing that we pedestalize but I know every guy I've been through has done that. They held her in such high esteem. And it's like, dude, guess what? She took a shit today. And
a smelly, stinky shit.
A stinking ass dump. And if she doesn't take a bath, she'll smell like the inside of your socks. And if she burps, she farts, she pees a little bit when she sneezes, and she's scared of spiders. And she has bad days, and
her armpits smell sometimes. Worse BO than me sometimes. You're just like, yeah.
And it's like, take her off that fucking pedestal. She's a human. She's a female.
When I started doing that, Joe, it was before we get into DT's comment. It was exactly when you told me that it goes God, self, purpose, and women are at the very bottom. As soon as you told me that, I'm not gonna lie, that was a huge breakthrough for me, because I knew that spiritually I couldn't be putting girls on a pedestal anymore. And that was the breakthrough.
Anything you put before God is going to be taken. Anything.
Money. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's not to demean. It's not to demean or put the woman in your life as less than.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that if you're not right with God, you're not pursuing your purpose, you're not going to be of any use to her. And then if you're not attending to yourself, you're not going to be of any use to anybody. And this is one of the hardest points that it takes to drive home to men, is like, tend to yourself. Start with God. Ask God for guidance. The next, stay focused on your purpose, because that's what's going to bring you to things in life that you want. And that's going to give you fulfillment. And if she goes, well, guess what? You still got God and your purpose.
Yeah.
Then yourself, because you have to pour from a full cup. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
And then, so yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to read his comment. Approaching girls that work at a clothing store is a start for unconfident men. Teachers. That's true. And you can easily go up to them. Hey, can you come help me out with this? Show me how this looks on me. Or what would you think? What goes with this shirt? What goes with this shoes? And it allows you. Yeah. I'd seduce you.
My first lay was from a girl that worked at a clothing store. First lay ever. I went up and said, "What's the time?" And then ran away. And she hit me up the next day with a little note, say with her number.
See,
that's how it all began. Yeah, great advice, CT.
Yeah, and when I work with guys, I've had guys who are absolutely crippled with anxiety. Like, there's this guy I worked with who used to genuinely have panic attacks walking in a girl's direction. He would stress like he had to take medicine. He was so anxious and afraid to talk to women. I said, dude, walk up. This is your assignment for the next week. Pick a girl that catches your eye, that's attractive. By the count of 3, you're walking in her direction. And when you get to her, you utter these words: "Excuse me, do you have the time?" And she says yes, get the time, and say, "Thank you, have a good day." And if she says no, say, "Thank you, have a good day," and walk off. Do that for a week. But I want you to do it to at least 50 different girls. I said, try to go for like 20 a day. I said, find an open. Oh, he did it. Within 6 weeks, this dude had one chick he's taken on a date, another chick on hold. 6 weeks.
Wow. Let's go, dude.
And
that's the time, man.
So yeah, DT, you're absolutely right. Start small, work your way up. And
you have your watch on and your phone out. What's the time?
Yeah. Well, I did tell him that, like, don't have your phone out and make sure you're not wearing a watch. But even if she says,
Yep.
Even if she says you got to watch on, why don't you tell me? So, well, I wanted your time. Be funny about it. Be clever about it. Say something. So your watch looks better than mine. Or I don't know, anything you say at that point. And that's another thing I've learned. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's however you pitch it. You can say the most ridiculous thing in the world. If you say it with confidence and assuredness, she's going to get a positive reaction out of it. And it's going to put you in a better light. So, yeah, good point, DT. Start small, work your way up. And then the next assignment was going up to a girl and asking, how's your day going? Hey, I couldn't help but notice you're from the other side of the park. How's your day? Good, da, da, da. Yes, that's how I tell them. And you say,
and don't feel bad if you're not as confident as Joe's saying it right now, right? It takes practice to get it. It'll probably be awkward and fumbly the first.
Well, that's why I tell them to do it. And I say, not only that, make conversation with everybody, men, women, old funky ladies you would never think about. Talk to the cashier who's ringing you up for your groceries. Just start talking, strike up a conversation. Yes. You know, you got to lube that social comfort muscle. And you can't be all awkward socially. Chicks can sniff that out. Let me tell you something. Let me remind y'all. From the time a woman starts sprouting little tits and her hips start bulging out a little bit, she is getting hit on from the time she's about 12 or 13 until she's about 80. Constantly. Now with social media, she's got thousands of more dicks being thrown at her through her phone, through her computer, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. Chicks got dicks coming from every different direction. They are way more attuned to what's going on than you could ever imagine. A lot of guys think, oh, I'm too slick. Dude, she knows when you're walking in direction what you want. When you're walking towards her, she already knows what you want. Don't hide that. Don't make it seem like you're there being inconspicuous and come up to her with some lame ass compliment right off the jump that she's probably heard 50 times already that day.
Yeah.
You're not standing out. Be direct.
Nope. Yep.
And at first, you're not going to be smooth and confident with it. And that's okay. Nope. That's why I tell you to keep doing it for a week, every day, 50 a day. So when you do say it, I'll tell you what, doing jujitsu, I was at jujitsu last night and we were doing this throw. And I noticed how much smoother I got. And I remember my first day of jujitsu, we were doing a very simple, it's called Ippo and Seonagi, shoulder throw. And I mean, I look like a baby deer trying to walk, getting this first technique. And as Ude Garama Makakomi, it's a lock, an arm lock, and a throw. And it took me so long. And last night I did it. It's just like I do it without even thinking now. When somebody comes at me in a direction, I got it. Just like that. It's muscle memory. I don't even think about it. It's just there.
Wow.
Same thing with approaching and talking to chicks. The more you do it, it becomes like second nature. It becomes like scratching your ass. It's easy.
Second nature. And then they pick that up that you know what you're doing and you're confident about it.
So guess what that signals?
Oh yeah.
He must do this a lot. He must have a lot of success with women. I want to fuck him. All the other chicks seem to like him. He's very comfortable doing this. This is easy for him. My God. Right. Don't tell them how you got like that. They don't care. They don't want to know.
Nope. They know though. They know.
Well, they don't know that maybe at one point you were a socially awkward nerd who was scared to even look in a woman's direction and you'd have panic attacks at the thought of going to ask a woman for a number. And they don't want to hear your backstory. Save that shit.
And never tell them.
Doesn't matter.
Never tell them ever. ever.
Well, I mean, when you're in a relationship years later, maybe she'll, you're so good with women. You can say, not always, but don't give details. She don't care anyway. She does not care. I promise you. They don't want to know the story of your triumph. Save that for me. Save that for your male friends on how you have this journey of triumph and success. A lowly man risen from the ashes. They don't care about that. They don't care about
It's like when a girl tries to tell you how she got her degree. Like, sorry, you two, but you're just like, all right, like I can't even help it. Like I've been noticing a lot. Is like when I'm on dates and they start talking about their work, like I literally like my eyes just start glazing over. I'm like I have to like
Yeah.
stay focused, but I just have zero interest. It's just biological, so they don't same thing.
Well, these
They're not interested.
modernized, masculine ass women now, women don't have the ability to see outside of the way they think. So
Yeah.
they assume that men are attracted to the same things that we're attracted to,
Mm.
that they're attracted to. I'm sorry, that we're attracted to the same. They are attracted to status, power, confidence, accomplishment, problem solving, being cool, calm, and centered, and being masculine and upright and direct. They think because they like that so much, well, men must like it, and
Mhm.
it's not true.
Nope.
They've been very misled and misguided into believing we find those same attributes sexy or attractive.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that a masculine frame doesn't want to receive a masculine frame. That's called bumping dicks. That's not attractive to me. I have no interest in that. I like
That's
soft, sweet, feminine. I like the opposite of me. And there's a reason, there's polarization there. There's a reason why we're built different and made different so we can coexist. And the differences aren't meant to be uh, difficult and combative, they're meant to be complementary.
mm,
I'm strong and hard, so you can be soft and submissive. I fucking, you wash the clothes, I'll attack the muggers. I'll step in front of the bullet. I'll go out the room at night when you hear a noise. You be sweet. I'll be
yep.
hard when we have to be.
Yeah.
And
That's all you got to be is sweet. That's it. We don't ask for much. Just be sweet.
So
Just be
easy.
sweet and feminine.
Just
You're good.
don't get
You put
fat and
yourself on top of
disgusting.
the list.
Yeah.
No, gracias. I was
Don't.
going to your coach comments there. I was coaching a guy. I'm coaching a few guys now on day game and stuff, and we were out and he was doing that same thing we were talking about. Like he'd go up to a girl and instantly throw out a pickup line. And I started having him record his approaches so we could analyze it.
Mhm.
And I found out that's what he was doing. I said, hey man, just go say hi. He's like, what do you mean? I'm just like, just say hi. Start it off with hi and see what happens. Boom, just great interaction after great interaction. He's getting numbers. I'm just like, bro, just keep. That's it. So simple. Just don't be weird. Don't
These
be
guys
obvious.
come in all socially awkward and autistic. I worked at another guy who was an engineer, software engineer. Engineer brains are the most difficult people to work with. They're always trying to figure shit out. Well, if I do this, I'm like, just shut the fuck up and listen. I'm telling you exactly what to do. If your shit worked and you have such an opinion, why are you talking to me? Why are you paying me to get guidance if you have all the answers?
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just uncoachable to a degree. Like,
Right.
if you got all the answers,
almost,
why don't I pay you and I'll sit here and listen? How about that? No.
I know those kind of people. It's like they want you to just know that it's like they almost are paying you for you to tell them that they're right.
Exactly.
And you're like, no.
And I would tell him, he'd give me a field report. All right, I got a date, young chick, it's hot. And we got on the date. She was a software engineer too. And then I'm like, why are you talking about work on a date? Like your first date with a chick and you said, you had a job interview or a date? No, well, I think it's important that we had that in common and that. I said, dude, I told you not to do that. I told you stay away from occupation. You don't make it fun. When chicks ask me, what do you do? I tell them I sell oranges under the interstate. Or
That's great, dude.
I'm the guy who paints all the light poles on the interstate. Like I just make shit up, like something ridiculous and far-fetched. And that signals like, I ain't here to talk about that. What about you? Like, why are you here? I'm here for a different reason. We'll get into that another time. Let's have some fun. Let's make it fun and playful.
That's so good, dude. That's such a good tip, guys. Such a good tip right there. Just I say I wash windows in Mexico, like on cars. There's these guys
awesome.
run up and they just like.
I've used that before. I said, I'm the guy who runs out and squeegees your window at the stoplight.
No way. Yes. That's
She said, no, you're
awesome.
not. I said, I'm telling you. I said, come on outside. I'll show you my squirt bottle.
Love it. That's so key, man. Because the worst thing you can do is bore a girl, and then you run into the mistake too of telling her everything if you start talking about work, so she finds out who you are on the first date, and then it's over. That's what I do. I'd like tell them, I'm like, yeah, I'm a recovery coach. I do all this. I have a YouTube channel, and by the end of the date, they'll be like, well, there's nothing more to find out from this guy.
Yep. Thanks for telling me everything. Have a good life. I'm never
Yeah.
talking to you again. Joe, who pays for the first date? I know you're joking, DT. I don't play that
The
shit over
girl,
there.
duh. Dude, obviously.
No. Obviously, he's kidding. He's joking. You pay for the first date. You pay for all the dates. Once you get to know each other and you're in somewhat of a relationship, somewhat, and if she wants to do something nice for her, you take it.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You have zero expectation of her coming out of pocket for anything. You invited her to a date. You lead the interaction. You pay for her.
She can
And
pay for her Uber. I'll say that. She's coming to meet you. Yeah, she can pay for her transportation.
yeah,
I don't need to.
I usually offer to come get them. And if you say
Okay.
no, then it's on you on your own. I always offer. I know some girls it's uncomfortable. Like, I don't know you yet. I'm like, no, that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Nice.
I'm being a gentleman as usual, offering to come pick you up at your front door. But I understand. Here's the address. Bam, bam, bam.
Mm,
And leave it.
yeah.
I've had guys who would say, well, she didn't want me to pick her up. So I asked her why. I'm like, why would you do that?
Don't ask why. The most
Oh,
uncaliber thing you do is ask, why don't you want a strange man to come pick you up in his
yeah,
car?
why not? I want to come. I'm like, dude, now you just turned into fucking Mr. Stalker all of a sudden. You lost it. So
Oh,
back
DT's
to
funny.
software engineer guy. We were talking about the date. He didn't get a second date. And this is where I'd run into, I eventually got him out of his head a little bit. And he was a good guy, great heart, had a lot of potential. And by the time we worked together for about 3 months, and by the time I was done, he was doing well on his own. And he actually understood what I was trying to impress on him. But don't be analytical. Be in the moment. Be present in that very moment. Don't have a structured job interview questions for her to answer on the first date.
Hmm.
You shouldn't even be talking that much, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Then, so his first solution for what went wrong on a date is he said, I should have brought up that I was a software engineer sooner so we could start talking about that.
Oh.
I said, no, buddy, you're going in the wrong direction. You're going off the end of the bridge. You're not going to the penthouse. So that's, if anything about that is just keep it light, keep it casual, keep it fun. Girls want to have fun. They don't want to go sit down with you and listen to you ramble about your boring ass for an hour and a half. They want to get drunk, have fun. They want you to take them and twirl them around and
Laugh.
let them talk and
Make
laugh. Yeah.
feel feelings. Yeah, they don't want to be bored. I don't even talk to if I catch myself on a work topic for more than 2 minutes, I'm like, I change the subject. Because she came to spend time with you to get away from work, to not think about work, to not think about her job or career. She wants to go out with a handsome guy and have a good time.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
one of
with
my
my friends. I don't want to I don't want to go sit with my friends having dinner and talk about work the whole time.
Yeah.
What makes you think a girl that you're trying to romantically attract wants to do the same thing?
Your
Think
friends will
about it.
hate that after a while, let alone a woman. Your friends would be like, dude, stop talking about work.
Joe, who pays for the first date if you've been catfished? Nothing. You get up and leave immediately. I've been catfished.
Okay. Have you been fatfished or catfished or both?
Both.
Both.
And I tell them I can't trust somebody with so little integrity. I said, no, that doesn't fly. Well, it was an old picture. I'm like, oh, you know that when you were putting it up there. A way you can get around that is a FaceTime.
Ah, right. That's a good tip.
I never did that, but that's a way to solve it. A FaceTime message. But I've
I
had
don't even have dating apps. I don't even use dating apps. Don't have Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. I just only do approaches. DT and to your thing about the first date, I actually don't. I actually only do first dates where there's no money involved. Like I'll invite them to coffee, but I'll never get a coffee. I don't drink coffee. And we just talk for 5 minutes. I'm like, let's go for a walk. So I stay away from money completely on the first date. Because if they see you in a second, it means they like you. And they're not just in it for a free meal or something.
Well, yeah, I
That's
definitely
personal.
agree with
You
that.
can't do dinners.
I do dinner. You know why? Because I like to eat. And
You generally like it. Yeah.
like that's something I love to do normally by myself. So I would rather invite her somewhere that I'm already going, and she's just coming along to enjoy my dinner with me. And me being in that position and in that energy, I give that off, and she is comfortable and she is enjoying herself because I'm enjoying myself. You know, a woman will pick up your vibe, and she'll mimic what you're feeling and doing. If you're all uptight and uncertain, what do you think she's going to feel like?
A little uptight, a little uncertain. Yeah.
A little uptight and uncertain. And like, I don't necessarily use a big flashy place to flaunt anything. Sometimes it might be pizza. It might be a good hamburger joint because I like hamburgers. I love hamburgers. So it's not, it's the environment. Just like you said with going to coffee. Well, if that's what you like to do, invite her along. If you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. I mean, that's a fun place to walk side by side, get to know each other, get a little touching, see how she responds to that. Gauge her interest in the conversation. If she's asking questions back, how is she responding? Is it short answers? Is she asking you questions? And you know, that's a great way to lose. And when you walk, it puts you in a meditative, calm state. You can't be uptight, nervous, and overthinking while you're walking, because then it gives you a little bit of you get an opportunity to display your protective side. You know, do you keep her on side of you, away from the street?
Exactly. Yep. Always move her over.
When you're coming across somebody on the sidewalk, do you kind of put your arm out and step in front of her and let the person pass while you're walking at the same time? Like, there's little subtle things like that that people don't think about and pick up on, but they do. They pay attention to that. And it's an opportunity to display some of your more attractive attributes.
Yep. Most guys aren't doing that on dates. They're letting her walk right to the edge of the curb. And all you do is grab her waist, so you get to do a little physical touch too, and you scoot her over. And the last couple of weeks ago, girl asked, "Why do you do that?" I said, "Oh, I'll tell you next time."
You're beautiful. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone to dinner and see the guy standing back and a woman talking to the host or the hostess.
Oh.
The concierge. About, yes, we need a reservation. We need a table too. Never do that. You walk in, keep her right on side of you. When you step up to the hostess stand, she'd be one step behind you. You're doing the talking. You're doing the asking. And my style is, when you're eating, you're looking at the menu. So anything catch your eye? You order the appetizer first. And if she says she don't like that, I'll say, well, find something you like. But I'm getting that. And when a waitress comes up, a waiter comes up, the server, you should already know what she wants to eat. And you order for her. You should already know what she wants because you've talked about it. She says, yeah, I like the lamb, looks good. Yeah, it is good here. You should get that. Okay. What else you want? Salad, soup? What are you getting? Yeah, I might get this wedge salad. And that's how you order. When the server says, so what are y'all having tonight? She's going to have the lamb, medium rare, wedge salad, and a glass of cab. And I'm going to have da-da-da-da. I'm telling you, it's the little things.
Okay. I like that one.
And look, if she's really into you and really into the date, she would love that. And if she gets back like, hey, I can order my own food, you already know. You go. Ask for the check immediately. Don't think I haven't done that before. Like, he asked me about being catfish or fatfish. I was sitting down waiting with a drink. I've had dates, not many, probably 3 or 4 that I've got up and left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She'd start talking some shit and telling me on her phone. I just raised my hand, called the server over. So, can you bring a check, please? I said, what are we doing? I said, yeah, date's over. I said, look, no big deal. It's not going to work. I can tell now. So,
wow.
But I got it. Don't worry about it.
That's badass.
Got to do it. No time to waste. Time is valuable.
Mm,
My time is extremely valuable. There's always something I can be doing to put back into my life, even if it's at home resting. But
mm,
I do not have time for disrespect, combativeness, contempt.
yeah.
And look, through the dating process, not everyone you're going to be batting 1,000 with. There's going to be
No.
some doozies out there.
Yeah.
And that's just,
There's gonna be some doozies that you like, and that it doesn't work out.
mhm.
And those will sting. That just rejection is God's protection.
Well, I'm talking about the ones that you know from the very beginning, like this is bullshit. Don't
Oh
say
yeah,
staying and
there's
legging the
there's
day, guy.
those too.
Like
It's
you're gonna
like,
sit there for the rest of the meal trying to force a conversation or get her attention and all. No, not me.
uh,
I have other women I can go enjoy spending my time with. Why am I going to sit with this hag doing while she's looking
you
at her
crack me
phone?
up, man. When did that hit for you? Like when in your journey were you like? Because I imagine I could be wrong that more towards the beginning of your dating, you're like, dude, I just want to get laid. Like, I'll sit through the bullshit. Was there a moment
Uh,
where you're just like,
I never really thought like that. I never did have a
okay,
problem getting laid.
okay,
That was never a thing. Um,
okay,
so I was never in real long-term serious relationships until I got married.
mm,
And then when I had the opportunity and I was single, like I wanted to go do things that I haven't experienced in a long time, and it's which is go have a nice time, enjoy myself, enjoy my company, have my company enjoy me. I want to be with people who is excited to be there as I am.
mm,
If you're feigning low interest to me, we're done. No
mm,
questions asked. I don't do that. Um, because if I have to ask for it, it's not authentic. You know what I mean? It's not being reciprocated. I'm there because I
sure,
want to be. If you're not there because you want to be, then just go home.
mm,
Don't waste my time.
yeah,
And I guess it came about early on in dating again. 5 or so years ago, I went on a pretty crappy date. I picked the girl up. She was cool. I already had a place picked out. I had all the logistics taken care of. She's like, I don't like Mexican. I'm like, well, I do. That's where we're going.
okay,
So you'll find something there you like. There's something on the menu you can eat. Okay. So she goes in, she gets a margarita. I order an appetizer. Of course, she contests the appetizer. I'm like, well, you get one. This is what I'm eating. And she made a fuss. There's nothing on the menu. Da da da. I'm like, look, they have a little American food section: nuggets, hamburger, fries. Just get something like that. Or get a salad. The salads are really good here. It's like she just kept being. She was hot, so you can tell she was one of these gold digger types who was used to having men
uh,
pander and cater to her. And I'm
okay,
not that guy. I promise you, I'm not that guy.
no, fuck, push that.
And then I legged it out for the whole date. I got the check, and I brought her home. And then she called like 3 days later and asked me if I wanted to go out again. I was like, nah, it's not going to work. Thanks for
Mm,
calling, but I'm going to pass. She's like, oh, I see. You wanted to use me for a night. I just blocked her. I don't even entertain that shit.
you want to use me for? You're welcome
So
for
then,
dinner, but I'm so glad I got to use you. Got to
yeah,
pay for 2 dinners.
that's the shit
That was
them
my.
jacked up women say shit like that. They always got to be a victim. Um, and a few weeks later, I had another date. We got in. It was the same thing. I've never been here before. I don't know if I'm going to like anything. So look, they got a big menu. You'll find something. I promise. We'll find you something you like. We'll go through the menu. Let's get inside first. We'll make a decision. Go in, get the table. We sit. Some through the menu. What is this? What is this? I said, look, this place is delicious. I come here all the time. I haven't had a bad thing to eat. Well, I want to make sure they make it a certain way because I'm really picky about my food. And I just raised my hand. She came over. I said, can you just get a check for the drinks, please? And the waitress said, sure. When she walked off, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, yeah, we're going home. I said, well, I'm going home. I said, but don't worry, I got the drinks. She's like, we haven't even eaten. I said, yeah, it's not going to happen. I said, look, this isn't going to work. I can tell you now. So I might as well
Mm.
not waste your time and you waste mine. You can just go home. I said, do you need a ride? I have a car. It's like, okay, good. So that's a no. paid the check, left the tip, and got up and left.
Badass.
And that's
Badass.
that's how you do it. You don't want to waste
Mhm.
time. And if somebody's treating you like shit immediately, just imagine what the next date and the next date and the next date looks like. Imagine what your future would look like.
Those are the guys that come to you for coaching. That
Exactly.
said yes to that girl. I love your stories, man. They're I can see the story. I can just picture it in my mind. I had one of those recently, brother, and it was the first girl I realized that chicks will do that. I usually don't have dates like that, block. So we decided to go for a workout. She comes an hour and a half late. So I'm at the gym waiting, just don't see her. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do my workout. Obviously, I'm not gonna wait for her. As I'm leaving, she shows up. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So, nice and late. She goes, oh, sorry, I don't have to work out. We can just go. I'm like, all right, whatever. Well, she's not like, we gotta work out now. I'm like, no. So we start going on a walk, and I'm like talking to her, and I'm asking some questions. I'm just like, what do you like to do in your free time? And she's like, oh, I like to, party and play video games. I go, all right, good first green flag there. She asked a question. She's like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, oh, I'm just hanging out with some friends. I'm gonna go explore Mexico here. I'm like, what about you? And she goes, oh, I don't have any friends. I'm like, green flag number 2. I was like, yeah, I don't make friends with girls. I only have guy friends. I was like, oh my god, dude, this is like something
Check, please. Immediately.
This is like something you see on those talk shows on YouTube. And finally, the straw and the icing's back. Before we wrap up here, we're sitting on the bench, and I'm like, hey, let's go get some tacos, right? There's a taco spot right by my place. I was like, perfect, and then I'll try to, take her home. And she goes, I don't like tacos, right? just like your girl. She's like, I don't like tacos. I'm like, you're freaking Mexico. You like tacos. I'm like, no, we'll go get tacos. Don't worry. She's like, well, can we go get food later? Can we go get dinner? And I like dinner like you do. So I'm like, yeah, maybe. What would you have in mind? She opens it for a second. Well, I really want seafood. I'm just like, all right. Well, first my first thought is, okay, well, that's expensive. I'm like, okay, what are the restaurants? And she whips out her phone. One of the most expensive restaurants in Mexico.
Yeah,
she's like, let's go here. Nigga. Yeah. And I go, oh yeah, I don't actually spend money on first dates, but yeah, sorry, we can go get tacos if you want. It's like, oh, I actually got to run. She dips off, just unfollow. She unfollows me instantly. I'm just like,
you know what I call that, friend? Dodge the bullet.
Dodge the bullet. Amen, dude.
Somebody else's headache. That's what I call it. Yeah. Well, this has been another great show, another great stream. DT, thank you for showing up and participating so much in the comments. I love that. A lot of participation and audience interaction. Yeah. And
DT, if you want to come on my show, real quick thing, Joe. If you want to come on the Sobriety Podcast and do a Asian dating podcast, let me know. We'll be happy to talk about that. Starting to do
cool.
that.
So if you want to get in touch with him, DT, IG, Instagram at Joel Henry, sobrietyuniversity.com. You can link with him through there and look at his content. He does a lot of great content, shorts, and talking about recovery and what life is like before and after and the process. Very valuable information he offers. Great guy, too, number one. And also, you can reach me at proudmasculine.com for coaching, breakup, dating, mindset guidance, anything to get yourself started on the level up process and see you through that. Yeah. That's my area, my expertise, and I'll get you on track and where you need to be. And you can find me proudmasculine.com, Instagram at proudmasculine, and I have a new TikTok that Joel hosts for me. And it's Proud Masculine. So I don't know. We'll get it. You look it up on TikTok. I don't have the exact address. I'm new to
Proud Masculine. Yeah. And yeah, guys, I'm a living testimonial for Joe's coaching here. Obviously, like it wasn't one-on-one coaching specifically, but he helped me get through that breakup.
We did a lot of one-on-one.
We did. It wasn't. I mean, I didn't like hire you for like sessions, but in that sense, but it was coaching, and you did help me get over that breakup. And now we get to sit here today, and I have a great dating life, and it wouldn't be because if it wasn't for you, man. So, just want to say big thanks for that. And
well, thank you, sir. And you did the work and you listened. So that's what matters. And with
definitely
that,
for coaching, guys. Yeah, definitely. It'll be worth it for sure.
Absolutely. Always does. I guarantee you, if you listen to what I'm saying and do what I say and how to do it, you're going to have success. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap. Thanks everybody for coming in. Next week, I have an amazing broadcast, an amazing stream coming. You got to tune in. And I'll put that out about 2-3 days before the stream. Got to remind everybody. And if you haven't yet, hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell to get my content that's put out a couple of times a week. A lot of valuable stuff in there. So go back and look and subscribe. And get them likes and comments. It really helps boost me in the algorithm to get this message out to other men who need to hear it. And help me grow the channel here. So thank y'all guys. See y'all next week.
Thank you. Adios.